Hey guys, this is Mike Robertson of robertsontrainingsystems.com, and I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the Bulletproof Athlete Project. So I've gotten a ton of questions since I've launched the program. People want to know, is this a good fit for me? What's the whole program about? What equipment do I need to use? So what I wanted to do today was just take a few quick minutes, give you guys an overview of the program, why I created it, kind of the steps or the evolution of the program, and then just give you guys a little bit of feedback, kind of a behind the scenes look at the Bulletproof Athlete to see if it's a good fit for you or not. So just to kind of give you guys a little background on why I created Bulletproof Athlete. For about the last 13 years now, I would classify myself as a power lifter or training for max strength. So I did my first meet back in 2000. I did my most recent meet in 2011. But somewhere around that 2010, early 2011 time frame, I was just kind of beat up. I was worn out. Physically, the training was grinding on me a little bit. By powerlifting standards, I really wasn't that beat up. I've seen and I've worked with beat up powerlifters. But it was more that kind of thing where I'm training for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I'm starting to see some nice changes in my squat or in my deadlift, and something little would come up. I'd have this little ache in my back, or I had a little impingement in my right hip for a while. So it was just kind of frustrating because anytime I would start to see some progress, I'd end up with this nagging little injury that was holding me back. So at that point in time, I realized, look, something just isn't right. My body doesn't feel the way that it should. I'm not quite as athletic as I wanted to be. So I sat back and took a critical look at my programming and thought about, my entire training career, and I realized something that was pretty important. My foundation was cracked. If you guys have seen me talk before, or if you've read any of my blogs where I talk about when I first started strength training, we had no clue what we were doing. Our weights coach was our cross country / basketball coach, and far be it from me to criticize. This was like 1994. He'd pull workouts from Muscle and Fitness or Flex or whatever magazine he had at the time, and that's what we'd follow. We didn't have a squat rack because squats were bad for your knees, so we leg pressed and we did leg extensions and leg curls. We bench pressed every day we were in the gym because we're your average 15 and 16-year-old bros. So there were just a lot of things left to be desired. My training foundation was just never very strong. And I never had a really good coach, especially early on in my training career. So this definitely held me back, and I felt like if I wanted to see continued success for the long haul, then I needed to go back, rebuild my foundation. So I made sure that for the next 10, 15, 20 years, my body would move and feel the way that I wanted it to. So I went back and I created what I would now call the alpha version of the Bulletproof Athlete Project. So this is just a program I wrote for myself. It was about a 4-month block, and it's based on all the principles that I developed and fleshed out later on in the beta and then now in the final version. But some cool things happened along the way. So I went back and I relayed my foundation. I started training more athletically, adding like some jumps and some med ball work and power work back into my programming, and some really cool stuff happened. I hit my personal best ever in the vertical jump. I was right around 29, 30 inches, and keeping in mind I was like 33 at the time, and I hadn't hit those kind of numbers since I was 23, 24. I was pretty happy with that. I came out later that year and lifted in a powerlifting meet in the 181-pound weight class, which I hadn't lifted in since 2002. I hit a personal record in the squat. I hit a personal record in the deadlift, and that deadlift was actually a lifetime goal because I had always wanted to hit a 3 times body weight deadlift, and I actually hit 545 pounds at 181 pounds. So that was really important to me, and I was really excited to have that happen. But I think most importantly was I was hitting all these PRs, athletically, as far as my max strength goes. But the bottom line was I was pain-free. No hip pain, no knee pain, no back pain, no shoulder pain. My body felt good. And I really attribute that to the fact that I went back and rebuilt my foundation. So what I wanted to do was take what I had created for myself and implement it on a more mass level. So I decided, instead of just rolling the program out and just putting it out there immediately and selling it, I wanted a lot of numbers. I wanted some data to back all this up with. So I ran a beta test. And people would say, well, why did you do that? Why did you spend, an extra 4 months or 6 months creating a beta test? And the reason was, at this point in time, this program was n equals 1. It obviously worked for me, but would it work for other people? So that's why I put it out there to the masses. I wanted to see if people followed this program, would they get the same kind of results that I did? And another reason I ran this beta test was I wanted to flesh out the program, because at least initially all it was a program, and it worked for me. So not everybody has the same amount of time to train that I do. Some people have more time, some people have less time. Some people have different goals. Some people would, like to be able to take their skills and take that to a court or a field or whatever. Some people just want to lean out. So what I did was I created this skeleton program, and then I created 3 different versions of the Bulletproof Athlete program. There's a fat burner program, which is the shortest program in there. You could literally do this in about an hour a day, 2 to 3 times a week. There's the weekend warrior program, which is much more athletically focused, different energy system training, but you need more time. You need to be able to train 4 or 5 days a week to maximize this program. And then for like the really masochistic people out there, people that have a ton of time to train, or they're super serious about their athletic development, they can follow the Monster, and that's a 5 or 6 day a week program. But I think this was really cool, and I don't think anybody's done this before. I took one skeleton program and created 3 full, fleshed out 16-week programs, so that if you pick up this program, you know exactly which one's going to work best for you. I think one of the biggest issues that people have is that, you buy a book or you buy a training program, and there's one program, and if you don't have time to do everything, you kind of cherry pick your favorite stuff. So this program, you can figure out exactly which one of the 3 works best for you and follow it. And I know, a lot of people out there just like the fact that it's done for you. 16 weeks, every rep, every set, every exercise, you know exactly what's expected of you when you go into the gym. So, I really like that aspect of it. So I thought that made it a lot cooler. But then I kept thinking to myself, how can I make this even more impressive? And too often you've got a program and it's great, but it doesn't address these other 2 pillars. And those pillars are nutrition and recovery. So what I did was, beyond just having the program, every week I give you a nutrition challenge and a recovery challenge. So I'll show you a video here in just a few minutes of what these look like. But the nutrition challenges and the recovery challenges work to build habits, because ultimately that's what we need. The problem with a diet is you follow a diet for, say, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then you come off it, you forget everything that you learned, and your body weight or your fat loss or your body fat percentage goes back up. So my goal is to build habits with your nutrition and with your recovery that you can use for as long as you're training. So when you factor in the fact that you've got a 16-week program, every week you've got a nutrition challenge, and you've got a recovery challenge, I'm trying to build these habits out for you, so that when you stop doing this program or when you follow another program, you can continue to use these habits so that you can see continued success. So we did run a contest, and what I want to show you guys are our top 3 finishers, because I'm super impressed. I think they made amazing changes in their physique and really in their performance. Because, I've had some people say, like for instance Anna, they're like, well, it doesn't look like she saw a lot of physique changes. First and foremost, I would beg to differ. I mean, obviously she's already a pretty lean gal, but you can definitely see she's definitely leaner through her abdomen, through her arms, through her legs, definitely more thigh mass, so her legs have gotten bigger and stronger. But Anna's an interesting story because she's a physical therapist, and she was coming off a back surgery. So she didn't really know what she would be able to do when she got into this program. And over the course of the 4 months, she hit PRs on all 3 lifts. Now, obviously the squat and the deadlift I think are a little inflated just because she was coming off some injuries and some issues, but regardless, she saw huge changes in her maximal strength levels. She saw a 1.25 inch increase in her vertical jump. But most importantly, she saw all these changes both in her strength, her athleticism, and her physique. And she did all of that, and she doesn't have back pain. So that's the biggest win for me. Our second place winner, Will. He's a former jock. He's a desk jockey now. He's a computer programmer. But he's just like me. He had a lot of nagging little issues that held back his training and his performance. Just like Anna, he saw PRs on all 3 of his lifts. He got a 40-pound PR in the squat, a 30-pound PR in the bench, 60-pound PR in the deadlift. But these things are really cool. He put on 20 pounds, so you can definitely see a appreciable increase in muscle mass and size there. And this is cool too. He had a 7 beat per minute decrease in his resting heart rate. So his heart was much more efficient and effective. So that's one of the cool things. If you follow either the Weekend Warrior or the Monster programs, we definitely put an emphasis on building your aerobic engine or your aerobic base. So you're going to see changes in your cardiovascular function. Last but not least, we have our grand prize winner, Mike Richards. This guy was in a car accident. He couldn't train, but he came back, and just a really cool story because you see he had improvements on all 3 of his lifts. He's more explosive, put on 8 pounds of body weight. But I mean, the physique transformation for this guy too. Now, granted, he's probably got a little bit of a tan to help out, but I mean, I would argue that he put on 8 pounds of lean body mass, because that's a big shift in how his body looks. And so impressive that I had to show this back shot too. So you can see, I mean, obviously he's got a little muscle mass there, but definitely a nice change from the program. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, that's great. Those are the top 3. That won't work for me. When I average the results of all the people that emailed me or posted on the forum, the average Bulletproof athlete beta tester put 27 pounds on their squat, 17 pounds on their bench press, 46 pounds on their deadlift. They had a 2-inch increase in their vertical jump, a 6.5-inch increase in their broad jump, and they saw an 8.5 beat per minute decrease in their resting heart rate. So not only aesthetically, but I mean legitimately, these people are getting leaner, they're getting stronger, they're getting more athletic, and their hearts and their cardiovascular function are improving as well. So when I saw this, I knew, okay, it's time to bring this thing to market. So here is the Bulletproof athlete. I'm going to give you guys kind of a behind the scenes look, because people were like, well, I want to see a sample chapter, or I want to know more about the program. So what I've got here is some screen caps, I've got some videos, so you get a much stronger idea of what it is you get when you purchase the program. And again, this is just a screen cap, but for week 1, you've got your 3 programs, right? So let's say you're choosing the fat burner. You can print this page out, and you have to get in anywhere from 2 to 4 strength training workouts per week. So you print this off, you put it on your refrigerator, and you start checking it off. Hey, I got in Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. Perfect. Next, I ask you to get in 1 to 2 glycolytic interval sessions. So just more high intensity interval training. You just get that in post workout. So legitimately, let's say you can only get in twice a week. You get in Monday, you get in Thursday, you've got your 2 strength training, your 2 energy system training sessions in, you're good to go. Furthermore, we've got your nutrition and your recovery habits for the week. So sometimes it's something you do once a week. In this case, I want you to hydrate, so I give you a hydration goal, and you would just check that every day if you hit your nutritional goal. And I ask you to bang out 10 good breaths every night. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but again, we're trying to build positive momentum here, and I want to give you simple things that I know will help you move and feel better. So regardless of the program that you're following, it tells you week by week what's expected of you, what your nutritional challenge is, what your recovery challenge is, so that you can hold yourself accountable each and every day. So that's kind of a look at the overview. And then with the actual program, you can see every day, regardless of the program that you're following, it tells you step by step what exercise you have, what tempo I want you to use. We've got the sets and reps, comments and coaching cues that I want you to think about, your rest periods. Literally everything is here for you so that you guys can maximize your chances of success. I left nothing to the imagination here because I want to make sure you guys are getting the most out of the program. So you've got your overview for the week. Every day you've got your training program that you're going to follow. On the back end, you guys have seen me talk a lot about the coaching videos. I'm going to shut up here and just kind of let this video do the talking, but for all of the exercises that are in the program, you get a coaching view that's got 2 camera angles, a front and side view, so you can see exactly how to perform these exercises. Here we go. So I think that's pretty valuable. You guys can imagine how many exercises are in the program over 4 months of training sessions. So this way I make sure you guys are doing the exercises and the movements exactly the way I want you to. So I feel like this exercise database is worth the price of admission alone. Now keep in mind, every week you've also got your nutrition and your recovery challenges as well. So here's just kind of a short sample. I won't play the whole video here, but you guys can get an idea of what these videos look like. Alright, so you guys kind of get the picture of where that's going. The idea is I give you guys a concrete goal for your nutrition and for your recovery every single week. It's in the manual, but then I give you this video as well. So if you don't want to read the book, I get it. Watch the video. Nothing is longer than 5 minutes, but it gets you up to speed on your nutrition and your recovery goals or habits that I want you to build every single week. Now, one last thing before I sign off here. One question that I get almost universally is that, hey Mike, I only have XYZ pieces of equipment. Is this going to work for me? Can I follow the Bulletproof Athlete program? And the answer that I've given all these people, there's one piece of equipment you really can't do without, and it's more in months 3 and 4, but you have to have a power rack. It doesn't have to be this amazing R3 rack from EFS, but you have to have a power rack so that you can front squat, so you can back squat, so you can deadlift, bench press, that sort of thing. Otherwise, I've given you alternatives for almost everything else in the programming. There's resisted push-ups in month 4, I believe. So you can use chains, you can use bands, you can put a plate on your back. So I've done my best to give you guys alternatives to any and all exercises, just in case you don't have like this fully decked out commercial gym that you go to. So that's the biggest thing. If you've got a power rack and you've got barbells, everything else we can work around in the programming. So I hope this has helped you guys out a little bit. Again, I just wanted to give you an overview of the program, let you see what it is, give you a better idea of if it's a good fit for you. But I mean, it's taken me a year and a half, guys. I've spared no expense, and I really feel like it's a top-notch program. So if you're interested, absolutely pick up a copy today. If you've got any questions, feel free to email us at info@robertsontrainingsystems.com, and you can pick up your copy of the Bulletproof Athlete at bulletproofathlete.com. Take care, guys.